Welcome back to the Personal Foul Podcast. I am your host, Colton Gesser. Alongside me is my co-host, again on location for the second time. We're not even like a year into this podcast, and Phil's again not home. He is now live from Hawaii. How the heck are you, Phil?
I'm fantastic. I'm in Maui. How can you be in a bad mood, right? I got my pineapple. I got my vodka, which equates into pineapple vodka.
Sounds like a pretty good day.
Cheers, my friend. How are you?
I am great, Phil. I'd be a lot better if the Yankees didn't suck balls. So we'll start there with the Yankees. You know what sucks? We crapped on Judge last week. And what the frustrating part is, Judge was starting, it seemed, to get it going there in the last game and in game 4. It seems like Judge was starting to hit the ball a little bit. And then I was like, oh, boy. And Dave Roberts, I think it was on Mookie Betts' podcast. I believe that's what it was on. I don't know. I just saw them together, and I know Mookie does a podcast. So I'm assuming it was part of Mookie's podcast. And Dave Roberts said, if that went back to L.A., would have been very nervous. Would have not been a fan of going back to L.A. Even it's like, oh, you got 2 games to win one. It doesn't matter. It's the momentum's coming against you. You're reeling. I don't care if Yamamoto's pitching. Even he said that. Yamamoto's pitching, it doesn't even matter. Just the fact that they're coming back, the momentum and just the thought of just 3-0 and blowing it eats you up. And the fact that the Yankees, speaking of getting eaten up, what an awful 5th inning. And I think it just puts a hole on what the New York Yankees are. Phil, you're the big Yankee ranter on the podcast here. The floor is yours.
Well, that 5th inning looked like a typical WBC game in a playoff game, like the ball going through Joe Slicer's legs. Or, RJ making a terrible error at second base, or Brian Johnson misreading a ball, or Ryan McLovin, overthrowing another bag as usual. It looked that bad. It was so pathetic. I mean, it was a beer league softball inning. You couldn't script it any worse. But, unfortunately, like you're saying, Roberts was nervous about going back to L.A., the momentum was there. He was even nervous in game 5 when they were interviewing him in the dugout. You could see the fear in his face. It was like, oh, my God. But, when you have the Rich Kotite of managers managing your team, a.k.a. Aaron Boone, it makes life a lot easier for the other team. And, I got to go over this real quick. So he made blunders in every game. At game 1, he pulls Cole after 88 pitches. I don't know what the hell he was saving him for, but okay, he pulls him. Then he takes Weaver out, puts in Jake Cousins. I went over this already. Cortez, the grand slam. We went over that. Not sending Chisholm home in the 6th inning, the base running flaws, which is another thing I want to bring up in a minute. Game 2, once again, I brought this up last week. Schmidt should have started game 2. He had a better ERA on the road. Game 3, what's his face? Should have started at home. The bum from Chicago. What the hell's his name? Who's a game 2 starter?
Game 2 starter was Rodon.
Rodon, yes. Sorry. Rodon should have started game 3 because he has a better ERA at home. Mr. Analytics, Aaron Boone, decided not to read into any of that and just go by his gut. And it just shows how bad of a manager he is when he goes by his gut. At game 3, the stadium was dead after that Freeman home run from Schmidt. Well, actually, Fat Joe killed the momentum in that stadium. I mean, what the hell was that? What are you doing, Yankees? Come on, that was atrocious. I mean, Stanton getting thrown out at home. And once again, I'll get into the base running in a minute. Game 4, it looks like those 2 fans, they had more heart than the entire Yankees did in the series. I applaud them. Way to go, Yankee fans. You made me proud. Once again, game 4, you get that lead. Why are you using the pen again? There was no reason to go to the pen. Use Marcus Stroman. He's sitting there doing nothing. Use him. I mean, my God, you keep using the pen. And what happens game 5? You go out there, you use the pen. They all get hit. They get tired after a point when you get used like that. When Boone sits them every other day and then all of a sudden it all goes to hell in the playoffs, it wears on you mentally and physically. And I don't understand how Mr. Analytics doesn't see that. I mean, it was just an atrocious managing job on them. on his part and on the Yankees' part, on Rojas, on everybody else, on the coaches who don't practice fielding, because apparently this report came out that the Dodgers had on the Yankees. They had a very thin grasp of fundamentals. No shit, Sherlock. I've been saying that for 5 years about Boone. They take the short leads. They can't advance base to base. They were second to last in baseball this year. Advancing bases are getting thrown out at impromptu times. That's managing. That's all I'm managing. I don't want to hear, the runner got thrown out at home. Not when you're second to last in baseball, which I think only the White Sox were worse, and they had the worst record of all time. You can't keep making these same mistakes year after year after year. And then when the World Series is over, my little sliver of hope is finally the whole world sees what a piece of crap Aaron Boone is. But no, they're talking about re-signing him already. So you know what? 2025 is shot already as well. I need a drink.
Yeah, I think it puts a T, that whole fifth inning, on what the Yankees are. They can't do this. They can't field. Again, simple fundamentals. I couldn't believe what I saw from Anthony Rizzo. A 50-mile-per-hour ground ball. My man is like 5 feet from the bag. And again, sure, Cole should have ran it out like they do every single play. But I'm not even going at Cole. That's a ground ball Rizzo's got to take and run in the bag. And instead, he's lollygagging like it's game 56 in the regular season. I don't understand it. I'm seeing Mookie Betts on a routine ground ball. Like, easily should be out. Shouldn't be zero play. He shouldn't be close to first base, and he's digging it out. They wanted it more. That's what it comes down to. Exactly. And I always say, talking about sports, like, there always has to be a will to want to win. And the Dodgers had the will to want to win, and absolutely had the will to win, and they surely did. And
without a doubt.
The fielding
scored one more run in the series.
I mean, what do you always get taught about baseball? Put the ball in play. Run the base as well. And the Yankees couldn't put the ball in play when they needed it, and can't run the bases for shit. Like, again, I know everyone makes fun of Stanton for running the bases. We know what Stanton is. He can't run. You have no momentum. You're starting to get hit. Why the hell is he sent home?
No, it's terrible. Terrible managing.
Like, I just don't understand.
Doesn't go home in game 1. Stanton goes home in game 3. That just sums up the Yankees managing problems there. It's atrocious. I mean, look at this. This is Boone since 2018. 18, lost the ALDS. 19, lost the ALCS. 20, lost the ALDS. 21, lost the wild card. 22, lost the ALCS. 23, missed the playoffs altogether. 24, lost the World Series. The man cannot manage when you need him to. He's Rich Kotite. He turns into Rich Kotite for some damn reason. It's awful. He needs to go. He's an awful, awful manager.
Yeah, sadly, he's not going to, because they made the World Series, so he's definitely not going anywhere. So we get used to it. So the Yankees do not offer a qualifying offer to Gleyber Torres, which I found interesting, and they do not pick up the option on Anthony Rizzo. So, again, sayonara to Rizzo. I don't need to see him again. And we'll see what happens. We'll clearly touch on the free agency stuff going forward. They figured out with Garrett Cole, he is back next season for the Yankees, and we'll figure out what goes on with Juan Soto. So as the MLB offseason
finalized with Cole?
The Cole stuff, yeah, he's definitely back. Yep.
So he's back. I wouldn't have gave a damn if he left too, because if you can't cover first base in the World Series,
stop it. I don't even want to hear it. I know everyone points at. There's an easy graphic.
It's not why they lost. You got to go over and cover the World Series, for Christ's sakes. Make an attempt to go over.
You could say the same thing about Rizzo. Why are you on your heels taking your damn sweet time to ground ball?
Rizzo's was an abortion in these playoffs. He never should have been on the roster.
It was awful for such an elite first baseman.
I don't hear about his leadership skills. I mean, he's stuck the entire time. Never around when you need him. I mean, Cole, I wouldn't. He's back. All right, he's still the best.
Stop. He was everything you can ask for from your ace. He's everything you asked for from your ace in the postseason. They shouldn't have pulled him in. They shouldn't have pulled him in game 1. No. And he should have had an easy coasting win in game 5. Yet they allowed that blunder to happen. So
and that was the other thing about game 5. You let him out there for 33 pitches before you go out and talk to him. I mean, come on, Boone.
I know they were saying the same thing in the broadcast. You're going to give him a break, or he's going to let him sit up there and continue to throw the ball. And what are we doing here?
Awful, awful managing 101 and how to lose. It was just a textbook.
Again, it's embarrassing when the broadcast booth is like I can't believe they haven't gone out there and talked to him. No
Yeah,
shit.
and
You think
Smoltz
we're
is
thinking at
saying it,
home?
yeah.
What do you
It
think
was
we're thinking
atrocious.
at home? So
There
again,
was a
we'll
rumor
see.
that the Yankees will get Brendan Rodgers from Colorado for second base. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would give away a bunch of stiff minor leaguers. I don't care. It's his last year in Colorado for
What you're
contract.
saying, Brent? You're thinking of the wrong guy, Ryan McMahon.
Brendan Rodgers. No, Colorado.
Rodgers is all right. McMahon's their top dog. That's I think you might.
Well, Yankees aren't getting McMahon. I'd go after Rodgers though. You need a fielder. You put
I'm not
Vogt
giving
and
up
Rodgers.
one
That's a
for
hell of
Rodgers.
a. And a what?
I'm not giving up everything for Rodgers. Let's not act like he's.
No, I'm not giving up anything. I just give up some minor leaguers. I'm not saying do a Soto type of deal, but where's Rodgers going to play there? You got McMahon there. That's the kind of deal that the Yankees should make, like they did with Chisholm. Give up some bum minor leaguers, get them over, and then go from there. I would put Judge at first base. Dominguez needs to go to center. They'll probably sign Verdugo. I mean, Boone loves Doogie. I can't stand that nickname, Verdugo. I mean, so he'll probably be back. And if that's the case, put Judge at first base. You got to take him out of the outfield. When he crashed into the wall, I was like, oh, my God, did he dislocate his shoulder? He's got to get out of the outfield. He's going to be 32, or he is 32. But it's time. Get him to first base. He'd be the perfect first baseman for you.
So bringing up, again, since we're not going to talk baseball for a while, most likely until free agency gets hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I want to bring it up before we move on to football here. Juan Soto, do you re-sign him to the Yankees with that big contract? Again, I think so. Or do you distribute the money around? And again, I hear both sides of it. It's like, ooh, like that's a lot of money. And it's not just run it back and we'll get back there, because I think the Orioles are going to be better. Another year under their belt because they're a really young team. I don't know if the Yankees get back just running it back straight up. And do you distribute the money? Like Christian Walker, put him at first base. Pete Alonso possibly. Like the thing is, before you answer, I'm just naming some of the top free agents. Like Alex Bregman to third base, move Jazz to second. But my thing is, I don't trust Brian Cashman for the life of me to build the correct roster because he has yet to do it over these years. And thank God they added Juan Soto, a consistent presence in that lineup. I don't trust Cashman enough to build the right roster. I think you have to pay Juan Soto. I don't care what it costs. You pay him. I know how good he is. If I trusted Cashman more to build the right roster, I'd be like, you know what? Screw it. Let him walk. It's a big contract. Like, that's a ginormous contract. And again, he's very good. The age, like, this is one of those contracts where it's like, oh, yeah, it's worth giving it to him because you're not going to regret it because how young he is. But I don't trust Cashman for the life of me to build a damn roster.
No, I don't either. He's like the Dolphins with Chris Greer trying to build a roster. You got to bring in free agents or make high-end trades. You have to re-sign Soto. If you don't, I don't even think they make the wild card without him. That's how important Soto is to the team. He lengthens the lineup. He's a great right fielder, although he had some fielding problems in the World Series. But you have to re-sign him. I mean, my issue is I think the Dodgers are going to get him. They're going to drop $650 million on him. I don't think Hal's going to go that high. I think Hal will go 600. And Soto's already said he's going to go where the most money is. I mean, when he turned down $430 million with the Nationals 3 years ago, everyone was like, "Oh my God!" But he bet on himself. He won. He's going to get his 600. He might even get 700 million because he's that damn good. He's that young. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So why wouldn't you pay him? The Yankees should sign him, keep him in right field for the next 10 years. But I don't see it happening. It's not George Steinbrenner's Yankees anymore. And exactly, you hit that nail on the head. You're going to bring in bums like Alonso and Bregman and trash like that. Who the hell wants those guys? You want to see Juan Soto play. You want to see him up at bat. You don't want to see this dopey polar bear or that bum Bregman who cheated the Yankees out of a World Series. Nobody wants that crap here. Nonsense. Go sign Soto. Fire Boone, sign Soto. I'll be happy again.
We'll transition our way into the National Football League where we're all happy around here. So, again, today was the trade deadline, 4 o'clock. It is also election day. What's up?
Your team made a big trade today.
Yeah, 2 trades today. So we'll recap the whole trade deadline here. All the trades that have happened around the National Football League. Starts off today with Marshawn Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints. Heads on to Washington makes the Commanders a little more interesting defensively, as their defense has been a lot better the last 3 weeks. We'll find out this week as they play Pittsburgh. That'll be a nice game on the Sunday slate this weekend. DeAndre Hopkins was a big trade. Amari Cooper was another big trade at wide receiver. Deontay Johnson were the big receivers traded. Devontae Adams. Mike Williams is a trade deadline day deal for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they bring in a receiver desperately. Another trade for the Steelers today would be Preston Smith from the Green Bay Packers, which I found weird because Green Bay's in the playoffs. They're probably going to be a playoff team. So I found it interesting that Green Bay sends an edge rusher back to Pittsburgh. That makes Pittsburgh probably the best group of edge rushers in the National Football League with 4 legitimate edge rushers. Zadarius Smith, his brother, ends up in Detroit. We all knew Detroit was getting an edge rusher. Who was it? Zadarius Smith from Cleveland. Khalil Herbert, running back from Chicago, ends up in Cincinnati. Another wash of a running back. What does that do for Cincinnati? No idea. Decided to bring in another Zach Moss type of running back. Don't know what the hell that does for them. But
although Moss went on IR today, so that's probably why they did it.
That is probably why they did it. Jonathan Mingo goes for a 4th-round pick to Dallas and a head scratcher for the Cowboys.
What the hell is Dallas? Dallas is done, by the way. I said this 2 weeks ago.
Dak's going on the injured list. I don't know what the hell Dallas is doing. I don't know. Jerry needs to step down and own the team, and that is it. Yeah. He is ruining that franchise. So until Jerry decides to pass that along, Dallas is never winning anything, and you can just write them off every season. Just a storyline is what Dallas is. And outside of that, I'm trying to think what other big moves happened today. I think that was it. Big move for Minnesota was bringing in Cam Robinson a few days ago from Jacksonville to tackle. You could call him a bum. He's one of the better tackles in football. That was a nice move.
Then why would Jacksonville trade him if he's one of the better tackles?
Well, because Jacksonville sucks, and they still have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, so I don't think there are problems you're going to fix.
Well, exactly. Why are you not protecting your quarterback then if he's one of the better tackles?
He's not good anyway. Trevor Lawrence isn't good anyway. We'll save that bum for another time. And Tre'Davious White is the last deal of the day as the Ravens pick him up from L.A., see if Tre'Davious White can get back to his Buffalo days because Ravens secondary.
The Ravens know how to make those small little deals that turn in huge come playoff time.
Could be. We'll find out. So, again, those are your big trade deadline moves, and that would be the final deals of the day here. Actually, I lied. Khalil Davis goes from the Texans to the 49ers in your final trade move of the day. So, again, a nice busy NFL trade window.
Yeah.
Dolphins stay put. Your thoughts?
If Aaron Boone is the Rich Kotite of managing, then Mike McDaniel is the Aaron Boone of football. I mean, the guy's a joke. Chris Greer has not been able to fix this team for years. He had all those draft picks. I remember when you laughed at me when we drafted Austin Jackson for Minkah Fitzpatrick. I hated it at the time too. And then he instead of drafting Jonathan Taylor, he drafted Igna whatever Bahoe, and I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore. Chris Greer does not know how to draft. He's a terrible, terrible GM. He needs to go. Mike McDaniel, it was a painful loss, but he coached better this week. He didn't give the game away like he has been the past few weeks. The Dolphins are done. They need to just tank it and start playing for a top 3 pick. It's a mess there, and they have such an easy schedule. But the problem is they keep beating themselves. I mean, once again this week, Mozart with a fumble, with the punch out, another fumbled snap for Tua on a shotgun. I mean, how many more times are you going to do this? This is like the Yankees with the base running. The Dolphins keep fumbling a damn snap once a week. Fix the goddamn problem. Cut the center. Players don't get cut anymore for making mistakes. Maybe they'll start waking them up and you'll be, oh, gee, maybe I should just start doing my job right. It's a joke. The Dolphins are a joke. I don't care what the hell they do anymore. And now I got to hear all these Jet fans. Oh, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl again. We won a stupid, meaningless game against the Texans. We're back. Get out of here, Jet fans. You all make me sick as well.
Well, we'll take a look at Week 9 in the NFL, and we'll start off with Thursday Night Football with those same Jets as they get a big win Thursday night to keep their season alive. 21-13 on Halloween. Spooky, spooky. I don't know what the hell the Texans are. They'll definitely be a different
team. You love them.
Huh?
You love them in the beginning of the year.
I do. He's also throwing a nobody Thursday night. Again, Nico Collins might be back this week, so it should be a different.
Biggs is done for the year. That hurts them big time.
Yeah, I mean, once they get Nico Collins back, they'll be a lot better. But yeah, it's unfortunate for the Texans because I thought they were going to be a team that went out and made a move today for a wide receiver, but they did not. They stood pat.
Stroud is starting to look like one of those quarterbacks that folds like a lawn chair during a big moment. But notice that he's starting to be inaccurate. Not Anthony Richardson inaccurate, but he's starting to look that way when the pressure's on.
Yeah, again, I think he'll look a lot better when he's thrown to his usual target in Nico Collins if he's back this week, and then we'll revisit that on what CJ Stroud is. But yes, he has struggled the last few weeks with the injuries adding up at wide receiver. It's what happens when you're not throwing to elite talent at wide receiver. So we'll find out what CJ Stroud is and the Texans going forward, because it looks like that division's theirs, because I can't figure out what the hell the Colts are and what the hell they're doing as they lose Sunday Night Football in a pretty boring game with the Minnesota Vikings, 21-13. Rams get a nice overtime winner against Seattle in Seattle, 26-20. Probably one of the better games of the week. I mean, it wasn't great to watch, but it was one of the preview games of the week, and that'd be the Lions and the Packers in a rain fest at Lambeau. Detroit keeps on turning, 24-14. Do we have to look at Jordan Love again? Do we have to look at Jordan Love and kind of thing? Because he had such a good season last year. Now was another guy I was high on, Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Struggling so far this season. Has a big turnover problem.
And that's a defense without Hutchinson. Love should have been better that game. At home, crappy weather, and they got annihilated. I think maybe that's why the Packers made that trade today. Then they realized, you know what, maybe we're not a playoff team.
Maybe. Eagles take care of business at home against the Jags, even though they almost blew it late again under Sirianni. Gosh, this team is so weird. I probably saw one of the best highlights of the season with that Saquon Barkley hurdle, which was absolutely incredible. That's got to
look like me with
continue
that.
to drive a knife right into the ribs for the Giant fans. Saquon Barkley looked explosive there in Philly.
Hey, Barkley's a special talent. You know, he's like I've said about Barkley. When you need that 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, he's not there. I mean, granted, they have the tush push for that, but Barkley doesn't get you that tough yard when you need it. He reminds me of Barry Sanders, where he'll bust a long run, but when you need him to get that tough yard, Barry had a problem with that too, and Barkley reminds me a little bit of that.
I knew you were going with that with Barry Sanders. I knew exactly that's what running back you were going to say. The Arizona Cardinals, I cannot figure it out Arizona. They win 29-9 over Chicago. Again, you're seeing the rookie stuff with Caleb Williams. You had DJ Moore walk off in the middle of a play. Yeah, I don't know what the hell the Bears are. Eberflus should have been fired going into the season. No idea what the hell the Bears are. Cardinals, can't put my finger around them either. They surprised me, back-to-back wins there. I think they might actually have 3 in a row after beating the Dolphins last week. The Titans win in overtime. I don't know if Arizona's good. Easy. I can't figure out the Cardinals. That division sucks as a whole, so they're in it and they're leading it somehow. Titans beat the Patriots. But Patriots fans have to be on the up and up because Drake May looks like he could be the real deal there.
He will. Nice. They need talent around.
A nice overtime play there to get there in the final seconds of the game to get it to OT there from Drake May. I was live at MetLife to see Jaden Daniels in person, and boy, he is the real deal. Commanders take care of business, 27-22. He finds Terry McLaurin twice for the win there for the Commanders as they lead up to a great matchup as we preview next week with the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. So we'll finally see a big matchup there for Jaden Daniels and company. I see you smiling. We'll get there in a little bit. Cincinnati gets a blowout win as they look like they're turning and burning on offense, 41-24 over the Las Vegas Raiders, who are a dump. The dumpster fire game of the week had to be the Carolina-New Orleans Saints game, 23-22. God, what the hell are the New Orleans Saints? I thought getting Derek Carr back, this would be a nice, easy win for them.
Well, Olave got knocked out. That didn't help. Bum Means, he's on IR. They got no wide receivers. I mean, they're hurting. I mean, Kamara can't do everything on that team.
Well, that's what they're paying Derek Carr the big bucks for, and he lost to Bryce Young, who seemed lost in this league. So they lose 23-22, a game no one really cares about. The L.A. Chargers take care of the Cleveland Steamers, as I like to call them, 27-10. The Ravens get back in the win column with a blowout, which this is why I was nervous about picking this game last week. It's why I didn't touch it. I was going to take the Broncos to cover the points because there's a big spread in their defense.
It was.
Yeah, well, their defense got annihilated. 41-10 over the Broncos. And your Dolphins lose in a heartbreaker as Tyler Bass, who's been probably one of the most inconsistent kickers this year, misses an extra point in the game, then goes on to hit a 61-yarder for the win. Floor is yours on your Fins because, again,
I think would have went for 70. I mean, look, the Dolphins showed some heart in this game, so I was kind of happy on that. And I think you took Buffalo in this game, if I recall, right?
Yeah, if you didn't cut me off, that's where I was going with this. This is a game I thought the Bills would easily trounce on the Dolphins because the Dolphins usually don't have the backbone to win a tough game like this in Buffalo. Again, it's not freezing cold, but a game that they usually would lose by like 14 points. And yeah, they hung in there as me and Christina are paying attention while we're at the Giants game. And I'm like, oh my God, sitting there, the Dolphins are fucking close. I'm like, holy cow, what's going on here? And the Dolphins almost had it there. And if it wasn't for Tyler Bass nailing a 61-yarder,
what
very unfortunate for your Fins.
I mean, look, the Dolphins, they have no identity. They're a team flushed in talent. They have an incredible running back system. They got great wide receivers. They have a good tight end in Jono Smith. I mean, Tua makes a world of difference, as we could see. It's night and day with the offense. The offensive line still stinks. There's no pass rush. I mean, they just could not get to Allen. I mean, Chop Robinson, number one pick. He gets pancaked on every play. The rest of the draft picks, outside of Wright, who they use like 2 or 3 times a game, it has been a non-existent draft. It's typical Dolphins. They don't know how to draft, just like Brian Cashman doesn't know how to draft in baseball. And that's why, these teams are where they are. They're just terrible. You got to build from the draft, and they don't do that. And they just, piss away their draft picks like it's nothing. That's why Baltimore's good every year. That's why I hate to say Pittsburgh's good every year. These teams know how to draft. Kansas City knows how to draft. I see you smirking. You're like, oh, my God, he gave Pittsburgh a compliment. It's true. They draft well. You can't deny them that. But the Dolphins, no heart. I'm at the point where McDaniel needs to go because he just keeps making the same mistakes. He's the Aaron Boone of football.
In our roundup of the week, the Falcons beat up on the Dallas Cowboys 27-21. Yeah, you're going to write off Dallas the rest of the season. I don't know when Dallas is going to win a game here.
That's
Cooper Rush. You might as well see what Trey Lance is, possibly to try to trade him or something down the road. See if you can get someone to try to believe in the Trey Lance experiment again that failed in San Fran.
The problem is Jerry Jones thinks they're still in the playoff hunt, so they're not going to go to Lance yet. They're going to try it with Cooper Rush, who did a good job last year when Dak was out.
I still don't understand why they traded a 4th-round pick. And by the way, a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. I cannot wrap my hand around that one.
No. Maybe Cooks is going to be done for the year. They don't think Cooks is going to be healthy. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I'm glad Cooper Rush is throwing to him. So, again, we're getting to that time of the show where we are heading to Beat the Genius.
Well, since I left my Dolphin helmet at home, I got to put something around my head.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm going to get laid and put it around my head.
That's not going to work in the slightest. But our records here, we have Kenny. I added up his Facebook stuff. He is 6-6. I am 10-14. Phil's 11-13, and Ray had a bad week finally for the first time, as he goes to 12-12. So we're all neck and neck still here at Beat the Genius. Make sure you get your picks in. And I was at your brother-in-law's this week. He told me he did picks, and he was 3-0 this week on picks. So shout out to Mike for that.
Did he put him in?
They were on YouTube. He was 3-0 this week.
All right. Hey, good for you, Mike Bauer. Well done.
So see if he stays.
Made picks for him.
See if he sticks up with it and continues on. So Phil, where's your pick, sir?
Well, I'm riding Detroit until they lose. I mean, they're beating the hell out of everybody, whether it's at home or on the road. Houston, I don't care if they're off 10 days. I don't see them stacking, man for man with Detroit. I have them at -3. Is that what you have?
I have 3.5.
3.5. I'll still take 3.5. I don't care. I like Detroit minus 3.5 at Houston. I know Houston's on a 10-day rest. I don't think what's his name's going to be back yet, which will hurt them. They have Stroud, nobody to throw to. They'll stop Mixon. That could be a ugly game in a hurry. That's game one. Game number 2, I know I shouldn't root for them, but in my heart, I think Miami's going to win this week. I have them 2.5 plus 2.5 over the Rams, right?
Yes, plus 2.5.
All right, so I think they're going to win straight up. It's a battle of two teams and no fan bases. Probably see nobody in the stadium for this game. This is one of those games where Miami should be meat, but they won't. They'll somehow pull this one out because the Rams don't have a very good run defense, and I just see Miami running up and down on them all day. And it's going to give the Miami fan base hope, and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, maybe we can make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. No, they won't. It's just going to be one of those games they're going to win. And then my third game, I am taking the Washington football team over Pittsburgh. It's going to be a great game. I just think Jane Daniels has shown no fear, and I don't think he gives a damn about TJ Watt coming off a bye. I have Washington minus 2.5. Is that what you have?
3.
3? All right, whatever. I'll take the 3. I think it's going to be close. I think, they'll be within a touchdown. It may push. I may get one of those type of games, but I think it's probably the best game of the weekend because, Pittsburgh's been playing well. They're coming off a bye. We're going to see what Pittsburgh's made of this week. I'm very intrigued with this game, and I will be home Sunday morning off of my, 12-hour flight. I'll be all gooned up, but I'll make sure I watch this game at 1 p.m. on Sunday. It's a very important game, especially for you, Colton Getzer. The floor is yours.
Well, I will be taking the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3. Steelers add another receiver. You can say that all you want. I really don't care. The offense is actually looking competent for the first time since probably the start of the Ben Roethlisberger decline. I trust the Steelers offense. I don't love the Commanders' defense. I know they played a lot better and they add Marshawn Lattimore to their defense. I think the Steelers adding Mike Williams, I think, brings their offense just a little bit better, which is an offense that's been on a tear putting up points. Again, for the first time that can actually believe that this offense could put up points since the start of the decline of Ben Roethlisberger. I'm taking the Steelers in the points. Mike Tomlin, as much as I slander the guy, has a great record against rookie quarterbacks. Coming off of a bye as well, add on top of that, I think the Steelers take care of business in a game that, again, they're going to show the world that this team is not just a pretender. I think the Steelers make a statement against the Commanders on the road, which is going to turn into a home game for Pittsburgh. Give me the Steelers.
Oh, I don't think so. No, there's some loyal Washington fans.
I know, they're so loyal. That place is a dump. You'll find it. Steeler fans take over that place. Steelers plus 3. I make fun of them all the time. Steelers made a deal with them today. We're taking the New York Jets plus 1.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Again, like I said earlier, I don't know what Arizona is. Jets had a nice win. They look good defensively against C.J. Stroud and company. I don't trust Kyler Murray. I just don't. I think the Jets, this is a game that, again, gives them false belief that they're a Super Bowl contender. But give me the Jets plus 1.5. And
Arizona runs away in that game. Screw
what's
you,
that?
Arizona wins in Atlanta. I almost took Arizona.
I don't trust Arizona for the life of me. I don't. Kyler could have one of those games where it just looks awful, where he forgets Marvin Harrison's a receiver on their team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not going to do that. So, and I'm going to take Philly as well, -7. Dallas is in the dumps. I mean, only thing that scares me is a backdoor cover from Dallas because Nick Sirianni sucks. But I think Philly's going to take care of business here against Dallas with Cooper Rush. Give me the Eagles -7. So Phil's got Detroit -3.5. His Fins plus 2.5. The Commies of Washington -3. I got Pittsburgh +3. The Jets plus 1.5. And Philly -7. That will be Beat the Genius. Make sure
the genius, baby.
Make sure you get your picks in. Drop them on Facebook. Again, the ticker is below. Please share our videos on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube. Share. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. We appreciate all the
support. Damn it.
Yeah,
hit
subscribe.
The button. It's not hard.
Hit the little ticker and just subscribe. It's really not that difficult, and we appreciate it. And Phil, I appreciate you being a hardworking man with this podcast. You could have easily, I'm in Hawaii.
Great. Let me show you the beautiful views here of Maui. I was going to do it outside today, but unfortunately, they had construction going on. I know you yelled at me from the air conditioning episode, so I didn't want to make you angry again. But there's my view. I get to see the big mountain. I have the beach right here. I got the pool behind me. I have all these wonderful amenities. And most importantly, I have the man they call Rubberneck, our first guest of the show. How are you today, Kenny Warren?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on the Phil and What's His Name podcast. Let me get my Beat the Genius picks really fast. Not only am I going to beat the genius, I'm going to beat his sidekick, but I feel bad because 2 of my picks are the same as Phil's. Real quick, I don't want to steal the show here. This is already the highest rated episode of the show the world has ever seen because I'm on here for 2 minutes. But we're going to go like Phil. I like the Lions 3.5 over Houston. The Lions have been strong all season long. And Houston, they just lost to the Jets, for Christ's sakes. Really?
Exactly. Fuck the Jets. Oh, my language. I'm sorry.
Like Nola. My Scott Sucks lock of the week is Washington over Pittsburgh. Washington's a team on the rise. They're going to dominate the East for years to come. If they get a couple more pieces, they're going to be unstoppable. They have the best quarterback to come out of the draft since God knows when. That's a lock. I got a 2.5 on DraftKings. I don't know what you guys said it was.
3.
Fantastic. And also, Ravens 6 over Cincy. I'm much higher on the Ravens than Phil is. With Derrick Henry on that team, it's well balanced. It's unstoppable. They're going to beat Cincy because Cincy's been pathetic all season.
Yeah, they have been.
So those are my picks. I'm Kenny Warren.
Kenny Warren with no drink. That's a terrible job, Kenny Warren.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you. Until next time.
Yo, I'm about to DQ Kenny for just botching everything. Let me decide to get. I'm the guy putting all the legwork in here. Kenny, kiss my ass. How about that? And I'm going to wax you. So you and Phil both.
Real quick, Embiid suspended 3 games, shoving somebody in the media. What the hell are you doing? Your fakers are 4-3. Terrible job by them. OKC 7-0. They're going to win the West. The Cavs 8-0. Great job by them. My Nets are 4-4, which I can't believe. The Bucks are 1-6. You're going to see Giannis get traded soon. As for hockey, yeah, your Devils are still in first place. 18 points. Who the hell cares? My Islanders are done. I mean, when you lose Barzal and Pellick for 4 to 6 weeks. Oh, my sports teams are in the damn toilet. It's so bad. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Fuck the Rangers. Oh, I'm sorry.
Man, you are what's it called? You really are Frank the Tank, huh? Jeez, that's incredible.
Stop.
Yep.
Stop.
Well, anyway, I'm Colton. That's Phil. That was Kenny. Or Kenneth?
Kenneth. Karen. I don't know. Whatever the hell his name was.
Whatever the hell his name is. I'm sidekick. That's Phil, apparently. And I
gotta go get laid.
And this is the Personal Foul Podcast. And again, big thanks to Phil for joining us.
My wife here giving me a comment. So what is that? Oh, how dare you ruin my podcast? Who do you think you are?
You ruined it yourself. You're on the damn podcast. You ruined it yourself, Phil. You're on the podcast, so you ruined it already. So, again, that's Phil. I'm Colton. Appreciate everyone for listening. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. And, again, we'll be back again next week. Appreciate everyone.
That's right.